My name's Jaynie. I'm a very grateful recovered addict. I just want to touch upon something, because something's been read in a vision for you a couple of times tonight, right? Or today. And it says, yes, there is a substitute. It's in a vision for you, yeah? I'm just going to recap upon what was read. Yes, there is a substitute, and it's vastly more than that. It's a fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous. There you will find release from care, boredom and worry. Yeah, not all the time, but most of the time. Your imagination will be fired. Life will mean something at last. The most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Thus we find a fellowship, and so will you, if you do what we do. How is this to come about, you ask? Where am I to find these people? This is the bit I like. You are going to meet these new friends in your own community, near you, not in this room, near you. Alcoholics and addicts are dying helplessly, like people in a sinking ship. If you live in a large place, there are hundreds, high and low, rich and poor. These are the future fellows of Alcoholics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous. Public information, hospitals and institutions, 12-stepping. 12-stepping ain't done in here. 12-stepping's done at the door. 12-stepping's done outside. When someone sits down in a meeting, they should already have conceded and understand what they are suffering with. We shouldn't have to keep telling them over and over and over again with miserable, pitiful chronologues of what it's like. I know what it's like. I want to know what it can be like. Spiritual experience. Step 12. Having had a spiritual experience, I fucking changed. Let me tell you, right, if you come in a pub and use with me when I was using, if you give me whiskey, you're going to hear my step 4 and 5 for the next fucking 3 days, mate. You are getting kidnapped, let me tell you. You are going to know everyone that's pissed me off, what my mum did to me, what... I'll keep a few secrets. Of course, I haven't done anything wrong. Let's get that straight, right? I'm not on my fucking step 4 in the pub. You lot are. And all my family, and all my neighbours, and all my teachers, every police officer I've encountered, probation officer, psychiatric nurse, every person that I've encountered has fucked up my life, basically. So I had a spiritual experience, and guess what I realised? I fucked up my life. That was a bit of a pill to swallow, and I like swallowing pills, let me tell ya. I fucking smashed Levi around the floor when it comes to swallowing pills, mate. I was a master. I loved it. Oh, mate. I used to say, if I relapse, it's going to be on ecstasy. Without a doubt. I don't cause no trouble on ecstasy. Yeah. So there we go. If you're new in here, you've absolutely struck gold. You never have to drink and use again. And the other thing I want to do is I want to show some gratitude to the committee in here. Firstly, to Lee for jumping on board about 2 weeks ago, God bless him. And about 8 weeks ago, we didn't have a fucking committee. We didn't have a committee. I think there was one person there from the original committee. What you've got here tonight, today, right, has all been put together in a matter of weeks. So I would like you to just show some gratitude to the people. Stabbed this morning. It's not true. It's not true. Look, the bottom line of it is, right, so many of us say, and I've been one of them, I can't do that, I'm too frightened, I'm really fearful, you know, and it is scary. It is scary when you're a people pleaser and you're full of self-centred fear, and you're abnormally sensitive to what you look like and what you feel like and what you think everybody else thinks of you. It is scary to make yourself known and step out of your comfort zone and say, do you know what? Can I help? I can help you. I have an answer. I know where there's a solution. But imagine how scary it is for the person that doesn't even have that doesn't know. Right, so what I want to do is, I love the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You see, because what happened was I didn't get well in meetings. I was in meetings for 3.5 years and another fellowship, and I was dying. I didn't get well in meetings. I got well in the book. Another man, an Irishman who looked like a farmer, didn't have a designer label on him. I looked at him and I thought, what on earth is he going to be able to give me? But I'll tell you something, right? There was something in his eyes. They were a light. And that was what I wanted. I thought, I want that fire that he's got. And he said to me, all I've got is a 12-step programme of recovery. He offered me temporary sponsorship, and the very next day we sat down in his front room and he opened the book and he said to me, open your book. You know, and we opened it together, and he got me to write a couple of maps at the front of it. And the first one is the one of the illness, you know, irritable, restless, discontent. Irritable, quick to anger or upset. I either want to smash the gaff up, right, or I'm crying with snot bubbles coming out of my nose because it ain't going my way. You know, restless, I'm marching up and down. I can't keep still. I've got the TV on, I've got the radio on. I'm on the phone, I'm screaming at the kids who I've given £15 worth of sugary sweets just to shut them up. I want to fight the neighbour because they've parked outside my house and I ain't even got a car. Do you know what I mean? I'm off my head, and all of a sudden I look round and I think, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. And then I get out of there and I go up my mate's house, 10 doors up, and I do exactly the same thing in her front room. And she says, what you got to come up here for and fucking make everyone all nervous and anxious? And I'm not using. That's me clean. And then I'm grateful. Like I go into a shop to buy a pair of shoes, and before I've even left, I want them in the other colours. I don't want the ones that I've got. I ain't even put them on yet. You know, I step over my beautiful children to find the perfect love. I'm ungrateful. I cannot see what I've got because I'm looking at what everyone else has got. Irritable, restless, discontent. And when I get, you know, and I don't even have to feel like that. That's the truth. That's me at the end of my using. That's the end of my using life, you know, unless I can again experience a sense of ease and comfort. But what it is, this is my main problem. It's my head. He says, do you know what? Fucking hell, you caused murders last week. I know what your trouble is. You should go out with Julie. Yeah. Julie's got a really nice car. Julie's got a lovely husband. Julie gets up every Monday and goes to work. Have you seen her house? I think that's a good idea. Remember, I'm talking to myself now as well, right? And I think, I know what I do. I'm going to phone Julie up. I go, Julie, do you want to go out on Friday? Julie says, yeah, all right then. Julie's never been out with me before, you see. So Julie's well up for it. So I get dressed up, put my best shoes on, got my glad rags on, and I think, I know what we'll do. We'll go up to the wine bar. Never been in the wine bar before. It's probably why I'm still allowed in there. So off we go to the wine bar, me and Julie. And I walk through the door. Now remember, I ain't using nothing, right? I am clean and sober. And as I walk in there, I feel like I'm made of wood. I'm like Pinocchio. I want to be a real boy. You know, my arms are like this, and I don't know which arm to put my bag on. I look down at my shoes, they don't go in my outfit. I'm not dressed like all the other women in there. You know, I see someone else, I think, oh no, they're not in here, are they? You know, and I struggle to get to the bar. I struggle. My nerves are writhing inside of me. I'm so conscious of myself. And then I get to the bar and I look and I remember now I'm going to have a really nice night with Julie, and I go, give me a double JD and Coke. And I pick that drink up, a nervous wreck. And when I put that glass down, I look round and I think, yeah, you fucking look, you're having it, mate. Who's calling it on? Straight away, him who I didn't want to see. How many? Give me some. I want. Next thing I know, an hour later, I'm looking at Julie, I'm going to fucking nurse that drink forever, Julie. You need to liven up, mate. Give me your gear, keep sniffing it off your finger now. Julie gets abandoned, right? I piss off for 3 days, wake up in a police cell, covered in blood. Fucking Julie's fault, isn't it? Knew I should have gone out with Julie. Every fucking time Julie causes trouble. Not knocking about with Julie no more. It's always someone else's fault. You see, because I've got an obsession of the mind. It is a lie. It is a lie that overrides every single thought. No matter how great or necessary it is for me to not do it, it's going to talk me into doing it. You know, an allergy of the body. An abnormal reaction. And my abnormal reaction is on a Tuesday when I sit down to watch EastEnders with a glass of wine, everyone else kicks their slippers off, I jump up and put on my rave outfit and go out looking for a party. Come back fucking week later. Abnormal, you know, a mental phenomenon of craving. And that sets me off on a spree, which just means I'm going to do it over and over and over and over again, unless I can experience a spiritual experience. You know, and it talks about it. In step 12, it says having had a spiritual experience. And what is it? Page 567 to 567 and 568 talks about a spiritual experience. And the word change, or words to that effect, I found 30 words in there. Tells me it means change. So unless I can change, nothing's going to happen, you know. And it says that having changed, I try to carry this message. And for me, that ain't about coming up here. It ain't about coming up here and looking good in front of you lot, right, and trying to impress people that some I'm never going to meet again. It is about, as it has been shared by the previous speakers, and thank you so much, Alex. I've known Alex for a long time, and Cameron, you know, and to Francis as well, coming all the way from Spain. It is about giving up my time freely. The time that I never thought I was ever going to have again, because when I walked into my first meeting, my head was in my hands and I thought, fucking hell, my life's over now. Look at these lot that I'm left sitting with. Oh my God, look at her, what's going on? Am I going to end up like that? Fucking hell, my life's over. I'm fucked. I'm never going to smile again. I'm never going to have sex again. I was convinced I'd never have sex again. I still am sometimes, to be fair with you. Fucking hell, I've been single for so long. Sorry, I was just remembering something then. I think I saved that one for my sponsor and all. Yeah, I thought I'd never dance again. Dance? Fucking hell. Listen, I went out one weekend with my cousins and that, and I'd only just learned how to drive. And I was driving back from Colston to West London, and my leg cramped up on the M25, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Because I danced so much. You know, we go to sober raves. Our home group, Shepherd and Read the Black Bits, my main home group, Richmond, Dusty Grows, also another one of my home groups. You know, we insist on having fun. We insist upon it. We've got such a young fellowship because we have such fun. People don't come into our own group and go, fucking hell, am I going to end up like you lot? They go, how do I fucking get what you've got? Attraction and fucking promotion at our own group, mate. Let me tell ya, no one lives without a sponsor. We follow you home. I think I'm joking. There's gypsies in my home group. So anyway, we carry on. Having had a spiritual experience, we try to carry this message and we practice these principles in all our affairs. Now let's get it straight. Francis said it. Can't be too honest, can ya? I practice most of the principles most of the time in most of my affairs. It mixes up a little bit. I do try to be perfect, but I'm practicing, all right? So the truth of the matter is, right, what happened at the beginning of our fellowship was this gentleman called Bill Wilson. I don't know if any of you lot have ever heard of him. Some bloke with an awful good geezer. He was a bit of a beast, apparently. Could not make a pound note as well. Right up my street. Well, he met a doctor called Dr. Silkworth. And what happened was, Dr. Silkworth explained to him about, he said, I've been watching you guys. He said, I've been watching you. Coming into my rehab. He said, and I'll clean you all up, go through these terrible detoxes and hallucinations. He said, and then I'll send you off on your way. He said, and some of you don't come back. They're the hard drinkers and users. They don't come back because they have a sufficient reason to stop. Like me, my son running away from home and telling people I'm dead when he was 14 years of age was a sufficient reason to stop. And I did. Yeah. I went to a meeting. And Bill Wilson went to the rehab. But what happened was, when he left the rehab, he used again. When I left the meeting, I didn't get a sponsor. Well, I did, but that's another story. You know, I had a sponsor who never opened a book with me, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I drank again. And Bill drank again. And me and Bill, we weren't like these other guys. But when they went home and had a sufficient reason they stopped, we kept doing it. And it kept getting worse. And he said, I believe you've got this obsession of the mind and this allergy of the body. Bill said, okay. And then what happens is Bill's friend, Ebby Thatcher, comes to him and he's sober for 2 months and Bill can't believe it. He's like, oh my God, what's happened to you? He says, I've got religion. He says, I knew there was something wrong with him, you know. But it was better than what he had. So Ebby gives him the spiritual experience. So now he's armed with the facts, right? He's armed with the facts about the illness and he's armed with the facts about the solution. And he's told, go out and give it away. But he don't really know how to sort of do it. So he's running around the bars and he's going to people, you need to have a spiritual experience. Like, Bill, leave us alone, will ya? Try to have a quiet drink here, but you're an alcoholic. No, I'm not, Bill. I'm quite like my life. Leave me alone. Anyway, 5 months down the line, and Bill says to his wife, he says, this ain't working. She says, why, Bill? And he says, no one's getting sober. She said, but how long have you been sober for? He said, 5.5 months. She said, you've never been without a drink for that long. I think you should go and see your friend, the doctor. So he goes and sees his friend, Dr. Silkworth, and he says, yeah, I've seen your shenanigans, mate. Everyone's talking about you. Everyone thinks you're a nutter. He said, next time you meet a prospect, he said, tell him what I told you about the obsession of the mind and the allergy of the body. He said, to match your mental inconsistencies with these. He said, when you've got him, he said, then tell him about the spiritual solution. He said, because then he might believe you. And what happened was, Bill was going away on a business trip, and it fell through because they found out he was an alcoholic. And this is how he describes it. One dismal afternoon, well, it don't sound like a very good day to me, to be honest. He certainly ain't happy, joyous and free, is he? That's for sure. He paced the hotel lobby. Oh, he might be a bit restless as well. Wondering how his bill was to be paid. He skint. At one end of the room stood a glass-covered directory of local churches. Down the lobby, a door opened into an attractive bar. Here comes the life. Last week, he's dragging them out of them. Now it's attractive. He's the only one there. It's going on in his head. Anyone can relate to that little voice? Oh, look, there's an attractive bar over there. Shall we go in it? We? Who's we? Who is we? Yeah, come on, let's go. He could see the gay crowd in there. Again, another lie. It's a gay crowd. Last week, he's dragging them out of there. In there, he would find companionship and release. You know, last week, he's trying to save them. Now he wants to join them. Unless he took some drinks. Here we go, set him right up, innit? Yeah. He might not have the courage to scrape an acquaintance and would have a lonely weekend. Anyone drank on loneliness? Fear? Not fitting in? I'll just have a couple. I'll be alright. And then you pound in the bar. Oh, fuck it. I'll stop with a 5th or the 6th one anyway. What's the use? Of course he couldn't drink, but why not sit hopefully at a table, a bottle of ginger ale before him? Ginger ale? Who drinks ginger ale? After all, had he not been sober 6 months now, how many times did I do it? I can't have that much of a problem. I ain't had a drink for 6 weeks. I ain't had no cocaine for 3 months. I'm making a big thing out of it. I'll be alright. I'll be able to control it this time. And then he says, perhaps he could handle, say, 3 drinks, no more. Fear gripped him. He was on thin ice. Again, it was the old insidious insanity, that first drink. And that's what I've been recovered from. The insidious insanity. I'm awake to the truth today. That lie don't hang about in my head anymore. Because I know what to do about it. My back door is my mouth. I share it with another person and it takes the power right out of it. With a shiver, he turned away and walked down the lobby to the church directory. Music and gay chatter still floated to him from the bar. You know, how many times did I feel like it was literally just chasing me? Like I could feel hands on me as I tried to walk away from it. Like I couldn't get away from it. But this is the bit. But what about his responsibilities, his family, and the men who would die because they would not know how to get well? Yes, those other alcoholics, there must be many such in his town. You know, and then he says he would phone a clergyman, his sanity returned, and he thanked God. And because he picked that phone up and made that phone call, he was put in touch with Dr. Bob. Many such alcoholics and addicts in this town. Do you know who those people are? Do you know who they were, those addicts and those alcoholics? They're every single one of us sitting in this room today. My son, who was 14 years of age when he ran away from home, I got to make my amends to him when I was 2 years clean and sober. When I was 3 years, I had the privilege of sponsoring my boy and taking him through the steps. He's 8 years recovered. I'm not saying it for a round of applause. I'm saying it because I was a hopeless drunk, an addict. I was a piece of shit. When the police see me, they stopped me just because they see me. I was no good. But what good sponsorship done, what actually making a decision to do something and following it through with commitment, God, Cocaine Anonymous, going through a 12-step program of recovery, it spun my whole life onto its head. It turned my mess of a life into a great big message. And every single one of you has got the power to do that. So if Bill Wilson's talk with Dr. Bob could create 273 fellowships globally, imagine what we could all do. What did Dave say earlier? 400 members alone just in Surrey and Berkshire. Fucking hell, that's phenomenal. Powerless. I do it when I don't want to do it, and when I start, I can't stop. Do you identify with that? No, my life is unmanageable. Cannot control my emotional nature. If I'm angry, you've got to die. If I'm sad, I'm going to kill myself. You know? Trouble with personal relationships, I didn't have any. Prey to misery and depression, I'm hunted down by unhappiness. You know, cannot make a living. It's got nothing to do with going to work. I wake up in the morning, I'm in the fetal position, and I don't want to go out to the world. Why me? I'm unhappy. I'm of no use to anybody. I'm dying inside on a daily basis. That's the unmanageability. So what have I got to do? I've got to find a power greater than myself. Because lack of power, that is my dilemma. Where am I going to find this power? That's exactly what this book is about. This book was written by 86 people. It weren't written by one man. Don't give me your opinion. That's why it's so the class of step one. Alcohol's hardly even mentioned. Talks about the thinking and the feeling and then what happens afterwards. Because you've got 86 people collectively going, well, that never happened to me, that never happened. You can imagine the stress they had writing it. It must have been murders. But it's brilliant. It's brilliant. You know, it's an identification and a qualification step. Do I identify with it? Do I qualify myself? My sponsor never told me what was wrong with me. He told me what was wrong with him. I read the book and went, that's me, that's me, that's me. I didn't have to be told. And in step two, you know, I used to play myself at chess when I was a kid. I never won. Not once. Fucking still to this day I've got a resentment about it. But the reason I couldn't win is because I know everything that's going to happen on that board. And that's like my mind. I know everything that's going to go on in my head. My illness is up there. It knows everything about me. I cannot win. I have to concede. I've got to throw the towel in. And once I do that, there's no negative energy to feed my illness. And then I've got a chance. Step 3, make a decision. That's all I've got to do to turn my will and my life over. That's my thinking and my actions. And then it tells me, we launched. Have you seen something launch? Fucking hell, it don't go like that, does it? It goes so fast, you can't even see it like a rocket. You know, next we launched onto a vigorous course of action. Vigorous means full of energy, like an athlete. Have you ever seen an athlete when they go to start a race and they set the gun off? You don't see them stand up and go, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to wait until Tuesday before I go. They're gone, mate. They're gone. They want to win. That's what he's saying. Next we launch into a vigorous course of action, which is a personal house cleaning. And it says that although our decision, step 3, is vital and crucial, unless at once followed by a rigorous effort to be rid of the things which are blocking us, it will have little or no permanent effect. Permanent, there's a good word. I'm 13 years clean and sober. Yeah, I do want a fucking round of applause for that one, I can tell you. Thank you. Because God will only do for me what I cannot do for myself. He does not go and do my commitments for me, and I've still got 2. He does not get up and write my gratitude for me, which is a letter to God every day. Admittedly, as young Levi will tell you, sometimes it's late because he puts little eyes on mine. You know, he will not go and look for the newcomer. You know, if a newcomer don't walk into your meeting, don't wait. Go to another meeting. Go and find someone to help. Because you wouldn't fucking sit there and wait for cocaine and alcohol to turn up, would ya? Go out looking for it. My mum used to go, don't sit there, fucking job won't knock on the door. Go out and look for work. Go out, get up, go and graft. This ain't easy. This ain't easy, but I'll tell you what, enough rewarding. Core, is it rewarding? You know, step 4, I've written everything down on paper. I couldn't wait for my sponsor to see it. I thought, now he's going to know why I drink and use, mate. Wait till he fucking reads this. I will draw tears from his eyes. I think he's still traumatised by me now, to be honest. He moved right out of the area after he got me through the steps. Fucking no one's seen him since come to that. So yeah, you know, we embarked on a journey together and I told him everything in step 5. I left no stone unturned. And there was stuff on there that I weren't going to tell him. You know, in 6, am I willing to have God remove my defects of character? And in 7, I ask him. So I just want to touch upon 4 and 5. And I don't say this to make you feel sorry for me or think that I'm amazing. I want you to understand what this program can do for a person. If you've got something that you think, oh, that's my drink and use, I can't talk about that, I'm never going to get over it. My mum used to smash the shit out of me when I was a child. She bounced me by my hair, right? She used to grab me by my hair, bounce me up and then punch me in the head. She called it bouncing. And I hated being indoors because I had 4 older brothers and they were all a lot older than me and they used to fight and smash each other up. And then my dad would come in and smash everyone up, except me because I was the only girl. And I'd sit in a corner screaming and shouting, please, please, please. And my mum would smash me up again for making a noise. So what I would do is I'd become a street raker, and as a result of becoming a street raker, I ended up getting picked up by the paedophiles. Oh, mate. Did it fuck my life up? Yeah, it did. I didn't know what love was. I didn't know how to have a normal relationship. I didn't understand about healthy sexual relationships or any of that kind of thing. I could steal. I could do anything. I could survive on the street. At the age of 13, I'm living in squats and I'm surviving on my wits. I've got bundles of money and I've arrived. You come into me, you come round me, I'm rinsing you for everything you fucking got and you won't even know I've done it. You know? Because I've arrived and I'm a survivor, mate. And I know what you all want. And you ain't getting it. I'm talking like a 13-year-old girl. I sit in places with people that have money and I would try to drink them under the table so that I could rob them. Sometimes, guess who would go into blackout first? 13 years of age. That's a fucking risky game to play. You know, but that's what I did to myself. Because I didn't know I had an illness. I didn't know I had an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body. I didn't know that I was doing that stuff until I was told by someone. So then I get to step 8, because I tell him all this stuff, you know, in domestic violent relationships where I've had reconstructive surgery to my hands, my face, the back of my head. My children have witnessed all this. I'm not the victim, they are. Because this is after a 3-day session this happens. Lost my spleen, died twice in front of my kids. God, what I did to them poor babies when I met myself in step 4, mate, I did not like myself. But I'll tell you something now, I stood at a turning point. You know, I mean, step 3, I turned my will and my life over. And people go, I turned. No, I didn't fucking turn my hands over. I stood at the turning point. I turned to God. That's the old way. I turn to God. That's what I do in step 3. I turn. Take my will and line it with ease. I want to live in God's will now. I don't want to do this to my kids anymore. I don't want to do it to myself even. Please, God, help me. Please. Don't want to drink and use no more. I don't want to ruin people's lives. I don't want people to cross the road when they see me. I don't. I want to live. And that's what I did. So I turned to God's will. You know, shared a whole lot. And then in 6, I'm willing. In 7, I ask. And in 8, I look at all the people I've harmed and I've made a list. And I make an instruction of how I'm going to go out and repair this damage. And in 9, I set to it. And do you know what happened in step 9? I had a hit list when I come in. People were going to die. They were. I'm fucking serious. You think I'm joking, right? I was going to kill people. Honestly, I was going to get well and then I was going to kill them. I mean, how the fuck do you get well and then go and kill someone? But what happened was, when I was making an amends to someone, I'd set fire to his shed trying to blow up his motorbike. I was only young and it turns out that his girlfriend went in there and she was pregnant and they think that she lost their baby because of the result of it. Fucking hell. So when I made the amends, he told me all this. And I walked away from there. And I thought, wow. How dare you hold on to resentments of other people and expect others to forgive you? Abandoning your children, exposing them to such a life that is emotionally damaged, warped my children's lives. You know? So what happened was, right, Cocaine Anonymous, a 12-step program of recovery, and God took my hit list and turned it into an amends list. I went and tried to 12-step that guy that used to rape and beat me and everything else that he did. Really unwell, crack and heroin addict, do you know what I mean? He's not in the rooms, but if he walked in, I wouldn't let you know it was him, and I would welcome him. I make a donation every month to a paedophile charity that tries to help rehabilitate these people from their mental illness. They have as much right to recover if they want as what I do. I made an amends to my mum and dad at their grave for the way that I behaved. Where else do you get the opportunity to put things right like that? They're not the step 9 promises, they're this phase of this development promises. The phase is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the phase, clearing away the wreckage of the past, because step 10 tells me we continue. We continue. Don't mean continue forward, it means we continue from step 4. We continue this way of living as we clear up the wreckage of the past. And then what does it tell us to look for? You know, I'm going to read step 10 because I think this is really important. Really, really important. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously, there's that word again, begin this way of living as we cleaned up the past, 4 and 5. We have entered the world of the spirit, so it's telling me we've entered it. We're in it. Now we've got to stay in it, you know. How do I do that? Step 10 ain't a nightly inventory. I don't put step 10 in 11, right? There's 3 different types of inventory. You've got 4, which is a written inventory. It tells me to take pen to paper, you see, because I'm a fucking nutter. And if you tell me what's wrong with me, or I try to do it in my head, it ain't going to work. I've got to look at it in black and white and go, oh yeah, well maybe that is a point, you know. And I wrote it as well. So if I tried to argue my sponsor, he said to me, but I never put that down on paper, you did. You wrote that, not me. It's your truth, not mine. You know? So I've got a written inventory. Step 10 is a living inventory. To be lived. From the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed. Alright? That's what it's for. I am to watch myself throughout the day. It says that when we do this, we will be put on a much higher plane. Up there. And I can keep my feet on the floor while I do it. And it tells me to look for 4 things. It says, we continue to watch for selfishness. Got any selfish people in here? Dishonesty. Well, I've already fucking told you I ain't completely honest. Resentment and fear. Fear, mate. It's my biggest one. Everything stems from fear. Everything. That's why my God is a God of love. Because love and fear can't live in the same space. You know, but it does switch. It switches backwards and forwards. But every time I make a bad choice, I can guarantee you that fear will be on the back of it. She doesn't like me. I'm going to lose my job. I'm not going to be able to do this. It's like no one's going to like me. I'm going to share a really shit message. These shoes don't go with these shorts. It says, when these crop up, we ask God. There he is. There's that man, God. Hello, God. We ask God at once to remove them. You know, God. Oh, God, please remove my fear. Please let me just be able to carry a message to someone who needs it. Let me try not to be clever. It's that simple. When these crop up, we ask God to remove them at once. We discussed them with someone immediately. I can't remember who was sitting next to me because I was so feared up and I'm scared. Yeah. And make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. What's the message there? Trust God, clean house, help others. Whoa, that sounds really simple. Not easy, but very simple. And then it says, you know, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone. At least we try to. Even alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned. I've recovered from the insanity of the first one. I don't need to use on my thinking and my feelings anymore. I'm not saying that I won't ever have to use on it, but it tells me here that as long as I stay in fit spiritual condition, I won't. I'm guaranteed permanent recovery. 24 hours a day. It ain't one day at a time. I've got to work my program from upon awakening to when I retire of a night time. It's a 24-hour program. So what am I doing in between upon awakening and when I retire? Step 10, it's a living step. It's what I should be doing. No one talks about it. Oh, you know what step 10's for, didn't you? No, it's not, because if you've smashed the gaff up, you can go and say sorry. It's to stop you smashing the gaff up. Watch. If you're awake, you can see what's going on in there. It's only the people that go back to sleep. And let me tell you, I get up in the morning, I do 45 minutes of Kundalini fucking quiet, silent meditation, right? I'm like a guru sitting there. The chihuahua's watching me, do you know what I mean? He's like, I think he's actually weller than me, the dog. I do all that. I speak to some people, I phone some numbers, I'm like, yeah, I'm well, I get in a car, you can't! I'm like, God, where did that come from? Working really hard here. Oh, then I have to stop, pause, turn, ask, what is it, Levi, does it go?
Pause, turn, ask, line of the wheel.
That's it, see? I have to do that. You know, and it says it is easy to let up on a spiritual program of action. It is easy to. It is really easy to. You know, and ungratefulness, but it says if we have carefully followed directions, and what's the direction? You know, it's just a set of instructions to get me to a certain destination. And what is my destination? Serenity. And that means untroubled. I love that word, untroubled. You know, I'd love to have that written on my gravestone. Here lies a girl, untroubled. You know, what a beautiful way to go. But I ain't ready yet. So then it goes on, and now I am going to give it to you. Step 11. I love this. Suggest prayer and meditation. Suggest prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation so I don't have to live with fear and medication. Yeah, we shouldn't be shy on this matter. It doesn't say anywhere there about a nightly inventory. Well, I do a nightly review, and I do send it to somebody, right? I do send it to somebody, and the reason I do that is because it helps me to look at myself. But let me fucking tell you something now. If I'm putting in there, yeah, well, this morning, Bollocky cut me up, and I thought, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, mate. You're going to be getting it. Or I chased him down the motorway. And then I got to work, and someone annoyed me in work, you know, and then maybe later on down the day. That's dishonest. Because I should have been doing that in step 10. It's also selfish, because I'm sending my nightly review to someone who's probably just about to go to sleep. Do you know what I mean? Self-pitying. Well, yeah, of course it is. All because I didn't practice my 10 throughout the day. Step 4 tells me resentment is the number one offender. Resentment, resentura, to refill. You see, because when something happens to me, I don't just remember it, I relive it. Every moment, everything, I can actually feel it again. It goes in my head like little tape. I'm like, I'm crippled, right? It says it blocks off, it destroys. There's a good word. If you've seen a destroyer out, it destroys things, smashes it to pieces. Don't just kill me, it will destroy me first. And why does it? Because it blocks me off from the sunlight of the spirit. So how do I get unblocked? Trust God, clean house, help others. I cannot pray with resentment. My mind ain't that clever. I can't sit there in quiet meditation when I'm thinking about killing my neighbour. It ain't going to work. So it says when we retire at night, right? So basically what that means is not when I lay down in bed and I think, oh, just get this over and done with. I'm sitting up and I've finished what I'm doing for the day. And then I'll go through it. And again, it asks me, resentful, selfish, dishonest or afraid, do we owe an apology? Exactly the same stuff. And this is a spiritual inventory. Because what I'm about to do is I'm about to embark on some prayer and meditation. Now, if I've got resentments or fear or harms going on, I'm going to be blocked off. It's like making a phone call in a lift. I ain't going to get through. I'm going to think I'm talking to someone, but really I'm going to be just chatting to myself. So who am I doing a disservice here, really, at the end of the day? You, my sponsor, Doing myself a disservice. And I'll tell you something else, right? Step 12 tells me, nothing else will ensure immunity as intensive work, one alcoholic with another. It works when all other activities fail. But let's get this straight, because in a vision for you it tells you can't transmit something you haven't got. So what are you selling? Because in tradition 5 it tells me, our primary purpose is to carry our message, right, of the group's message. What is our message? Our message is trust God, clean house, help others, get a sponsor, go through the steps, give it away. So if at the end of tradition 5 it says my sponsor sold me only one thing, sobriety, because I couldn't have bought anything else at the time. So what am I selling? If I'm not doing prayer and meditation properly, if I haven't really got a connection with God, if I'm a ringer, as Francis called it, because I not only can be a ringer where I'm not really an addict and alcoholic and I just want to be in here with you lot, I can also be a ringer where I talk a really good fucking game, but I ain't doing nothing. And guess what I'm doing? I'm coming out and I'm helping Claire. I'm going, come on Claire, you're dying, mate. I'll fucking take you through the steps. And when you phone me up and go, I've got resentment, I'll go pray. Or I'll go, I'll tell you what, just go to another meeting or write gratitudes. That's what you've got to do, Claire. Yeah. So I fucking killed Claire, but it's Claire's fault because she weren't ready. Claire didn't fucking do enough. Claire didn't phone me up enough. Claire didn't ring me on time. What a lot of bollocks, because if you're done, and you are done, right, this solution works, and it don't matter who takes you through the steps. My sponsor was completely illiterate and he never told me, and this is what we did. I wrote things in the margins and I highlighted the book. He went, read the book. He said, and put your finger on the words as you read it. And I did. And then all of a sudden I'd have my finger there and he'd go, stop, what does that say? And I'd go, it says, did it? And he'd go, did it? And then we'd have a little discussion about, did it? It did, yeah. And then there was another one, stop, what does that say? I said, it says lighter. He went, oh yes, this is good. And then he fucking burnt me. But the truth of the matter was, he got me through the steps in 28 days. He'd come home from work and I'd be sitting on his wall with my book. He'd go, we never booked work. And I'd go, I want to get through these steps. I want to help someone. They're dying out there. I've been dying for years. I want to help someone. I want to help someone. I want to get well. I never want to drink and use again. I'm going to do this quickly and then I'm just going to touch upon 12. And then it says, on awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. So in step 3, I'll turn my will and my life over to the care of God because I'm insane, remember. It told me that in step 2. But now I've gone through the process of unblocking myself and it tells me in step 10 that I'm no longer insane. I've been restored to sanity. So in step 3, God grafts for me, but in step 11, I'm now grafting for God. And he's giving my thinking back. And I've got to consider my plans for the day, so I better fucking hope I'm in fit spiritual condition, mate. Otherwise, that geezer on the road, he's getting rammed off it. It says, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking for it to be divorced from self-pity, dishonest or self-seeking motives. There are those things again. There ain't a list of 1,700 defects of character that I have to find out about myself. I've only got to look for 4 things. It's quite simple. And then it says, under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. Let me translate that for you. Under these conditions, Jaynie can work her intellectual power, and that's an absolute guarantee. I'm not mental. I've got a really good job. Let me tell you about change. And this I will finish on. And then I've got something that I want to read. So changes, I came in. I left school at 13 years of age. I was removed by the police. I was living in squats. My family didn't want me at home. In fact, nobody wanted me around. My son ran away from home when he was 14 years of age. We didn't speak to each other for over 6 years. I had no education, never driven a car legally. I'd crashed a couple. Even got chased by an helicopter once. I say chased, he was just floating above me, really. I mean... I caused absolute carnage and mayhem everywhere that I went. I was barred from every establishment from here to I don't know where. I weren't allowed in anywhere. I really weren't. People see me and they crossed over the road, you know. My little girl, who was 6 years of age at the time when I come in, was the one that instigated me coming in here because social services were going to remove her from me and my other son. My 15-year-old daughter was on the run from the police. I didn't know where she was. Now, as a result of coming in here, and I was 41 years of age when I got this, I'm nearly 55, right? And I'm fucking proud of myself today, I can tell you. I'm really proud of myself today, right? As a result of coming in here and grafting and signing a contract at the front of my book and sticking to it for the first time in my life, actually doing something. You know, I will pray every day, I will get home groups, I will get commitments. It ain't really a lot to ask for, is it? I'd fucking steal anything off of you. Honestly, mate, you know. All I'm agreeing to, people go, you sign a contract. Well, I agreed to pray. You know, that ain't that bad, is it? I agreed to get home groups and give back and help others. It ain't really a lot to ask for. As a result of that, I was able to hold my brother's hand when he was dying of cancer. I got thrown out of my dad's funeral. You know, I looked after his daughters. They come up to me and they said to me, God, Auntie Jane, I'm so glad you're here. We couldn't have got through this without you. Really? I had a child in recovery. He's 11 years of age. He's never even seen me smoke a cigarette. He's never seen me arrested. He's never seen me have a fight. You know? And then I became a single mum again. And the older children's father, he's not allowed to have anything to do with them. But this guy is a really good dad. He's 22 years clean and sober. You know, my little boy doesn't know what it is to have drunken parents. That's God given. It's Cocaine Anonymous given. You know, I went to college and I got my level 3 higher national diploma in health and social care. And I won an award. I blagged my way into it and all. They didn't want me. I conned my way in and I won an award. I was given it by the mayor. And I got into 5 universities and I chose Bunnell University and I did a degree in psychology. And I left with a 2.1, which was a goddamn fucking miracle, I can tell you, because I worked full time. I was a member of 2 fellowships. I brought up 5 children on my own. I went through a really bad relationship breakup where I wanted to kill myself, and I did try to when I was 8.5 years. But do you know what? I never stopped helping other women. I never stopped. I never stopped believing in God. I never stopped living in 10, 11 and 12. I never stopped, not for a minute. You know, I lost a baby. I lost a little baby. I miscarried in a bathroom on my own. And I took her little body and I buried her in my garden. I put a little rose bush on her and I called her Rose. Yeah. And then I come home one day and the builders next door had desecrated her grave. So I went next door, I kicked the back door in and I tried to fucking kill them. And I went back 2 days later and I made an amends. What's the saying? What I'm saying is, life is life. It shows up. I work in a job today that I wouldn't have chosen, and I love it. My sponsor is my boss. He's 16 years clean and sober. His brother is about a month different in sobriety time to me. We're constantly 12-stepping people that live in the properties. My life is a million miles from anywhere it could ever be. I worked in a pub for 4 years and people would say, if I could give you a pill that meant you could have 1 drink, would you have it? And I went, why? I said, and then I wouldn't be able to help nobody because I can have a drink. I wouldn't give this up for anything in the world. This comes first and everything else that comes after it is first class. And I know whatever I put before it will be the first thing I lose. I am so, so grateful and it is available. The deal is on the table to any of you. All you need is a big book, a sponsor and a willingness and an open mind. And you too can recover. So do yourself a favour, get the big book of AA, get on your knees and pray. Get up and give it away. Because it is possible to live a life filled with hope, faith and courage.